Okay guys, so welcome to the long-awaited review of probably one of the most requested BFS reels, and that is the Mavllos Pioneer GBC200. So it's quite a long name, so we're going to call this thing the Pioneer for short. Now, why exactly has this reel been so requested by you guys? That's because this thing is only $30. And because it's only $30, I believe this is probably the best selling bait finesse reel on AliExpress. And I believe on the Mavllos official store, it sold probably close to 1,500 units. Now, as you can see, the Mavllos Pioneer is actually not a purpose-built bait finesse reel, but it's one of those reels from China where you get the standard deep spool and then you get the optional shallow spool at no charge. Take a look at this shallow spool. It's very, very heavily ported, pretty shallow, and yeah. And because of that, a lot of people have been emailing me about this reel ever since it came out, and it's been out almost a year now. And I was kind of debating on whether I wanted to do a review, but once I saw that this thing was really selling like hotcakes, then I decided to get one for myself to see what the hype was about. So the main question I had was, what kind of a reel did I expect to get for $30? And the first thing I want to say is that the reel came in the box, and the box was in this condition right here. It's pretty smashed up. It wasn't really protected very well, but you know, then again, it was free shipping on a $30 reel. But luckily the reel and the spool were fine. But as you can see, once I got it, this is a stunningly good looking reel. Let you guys take a good look at this thing. It's got this really glossy, deep black, shiny paint job that is offset by some dark chrome accents on the thumb bar, the nose piece, the brake dial adjuster, and then to top it off, it's got just the right amount of color in these blue accents. So you got your blue spool tension, nut retainer, knob end caps, has like a lot of nice blue anodization detailing, and of course the spool. But is it perfect? No. Let me show you what I found. Now there's some bubbling on the paint. That's the only place I found it. And then there's a little spot here where the anodization wasn't perfect. I don't even think the camera can pick it up though. And the thumb bar is already loose out of the box. Feels solid, but that could potentially give us problems in the future. Another thing is that the spool tension is near impossible to turn. That is super hard to turn, and I'm talking either way. That could definitely skin your fingers trying to turn that spool tension. And also the drag is very, very stiff. Now the drag star clicks, of course, it is made of plastic and it is a really, really great shape. But when you loosen it down all the way, man, it takes a lot of effort to get these drag washers moving. Now, of course, you know, we can fix that. But the spool tension, I have no idea why it's so tight, and I don't know if it's just my specific reel or if all of them came that way. But yeah, other than that, it's a great looking reel. Now I will say this reel comes in several different colors and specs as well. You know, there's like a red and black, and I think I've seen a gold and black version of it and a gold and silver version of it. They do cost more money. They'll come with different knobs and whatnot. But yeah, I chose this reel because I love this blue color, and it's the cheapest one out of the lot. Now let's go over the basic specs real quick. Now this comes with 6+1 bearings, don't know if it says it anywhere. And it has a 6.5 to 1 gear ratio only. There's no higher or lower that I saw. And it says it has a 17.5 pound maximum drag rating, and I believe that. Now the knobs are EVA foam and they are very, very soft, but they are pretty squared off and the edges are kind of sharp, which you can definitely feel, but I'm sure eventually these edges will wear themselves down. Alright, so the handle, I don't know what length it is. It looks to be like 85 millimeter, but it's metal and it is swept. But yeah, so far so good. A lot of reel for the money. But I'm gonna go ahead and put some pictures up for you guys. They say this reel only weighs 152 grams, but more importantly, you see this picture here. They say that that shallow spool weighs only, what, 8.1 grams? But you know me, I have to find things out for myself, so I'm gonna pull the scale out. Okay, so I got the scale out and it's time to see if these advertised weights were true or if they pulled some kind of Photoshop shenanigans on us. Okay, so the advertised weight on the reel was 152 grams. Uh-oh, looks like it's a little bit heavier at 157.6 grams. So, I mean, it's still a lightweight reel, but significantly heavier than advertised. Alright, so let's pull these spools out and get some weights. Now, this is one of those reels where you have to unscrew this top nut here, or screw, and I don't think I did it enough. Oh yeah, there we go. And that's how it works. And just in case you haven't realized it already, for $30, this is some kind of a plastic graphite frame. Okay, so the deep spool, let's start off with that. Now they say it weighs 12.3 grams and does not have a spool bearing, but the shaft does seem to be made of steel. 12.6, so heavier than advertised by 0.3 grams. So that's still very, very light by today's standards. It's roughly the same weight as a METANIUM MGL spool. Alright, so now to the spool that we've all been waiting for. Once again, no spool bearing. Now the spool shaft on the shallow spool is aluminum, it appears. Feels very, very light. So the advertised weight is 8.1 grams. Oh shit. The true weight, at least for my spool, is only 7.68, so almost 7.7 grams. So almost half a gram lighter than advertised, and I'm really, really stoked with that. So this should be a top performing bait finesse reel, because the spool weight is well under 9 grams. As you can see, it's very, very ported, fairly shallow for a BFS reel. It's got these beautiful blue anodization accents. Now, as far as the braking system goes, no surprise, it's using one of those generic MagTrack style systems. Now it's got a total of 14 total settings. I've counted all the clicks, and it looks like it's got some extra little holes here to stick more magnets if you need it. So hopefully that doesn't mean that the brakes are too weak stock. Alright, so I'm going to do one thing here. I'm thinking that 152 gram weight was probably with a shallow spool. So let's see if that's true. So I got the shallow spool in. Yep, that weight of 152 grams was achieved with the shallow spool inside. So that's good. Okay, so if you recall in my beginner's bait finesse guide video, I said that a bait finesse reel needs pretty much just 3 things. And the first thing being a lightweight spool, preferably 9 grams and under, which the Pioneer has. It's got to have strong brakes, which we don't know about that yet. Gonna have to wait till I get out on the water. And lastly, a smooth drag, which is not as important as the other two, but that's where this Pioneer falls short. But like I said, I can open the reel up and apply some grease to the drag washers if necessary to loosen that up. So to find out if this thing is a worthy bait finesse reel, especially for $30, I'm gonna string this thing up with some line and go trout fishing. Now, it's been a while since I've been trout fishing. We've had a lot of rain here and a lot of flooding. And also I've been running, the subscriber reels through the standardized testing this past couple of months, trying to rush those reels through that. But yeah, I'm excited about this Mavllos Pioneer GBC200. If the brakes are strong enough, then for 30 bucks, this thing is going to be probably the biggest bait finesse bargain of all time. At least until they come out with something cheaper and better in China. So see you out in the water. Okay guys, so I'm out here with the Mavllos Pioneer, and the original plan was to go trout fishing, but we've had so much rain this last couple of months and a lot of flooding that my normal trout spot looks like this. And it's been flooding so bad that this is the first time I've actually seen them discharge water over the top of the dam. So needless to say, that place is washed out and I could not get any kind of real good fishing done. But I still want to see how this $30 BFS reel performs. So I'm out here at this little pond. It's normally a lot higher than this, but they've drained the lake for the winter pool. But yeah, I think I have the Mavllos Pioneer paired up with probably the perfect rod for this. It's this little no-name $15 AliExpress little BFS rod. It's 6 foot long, ultralight tip. I have 4-pound fluorocarbon, and yeah, this whole combo costs less than 50 bucks. So super budget friendly, but let's see how it performs. So I'm gonna basically work my way down from heavy BFS lures down to see how low it can go, maybe like a 1/16 of an ounce, hopefully. All right. Okay, so we're gonna start off with a relatively heavy lure for BFS. It's the Lucky Craft Pointer 65. It's a little bit over 5 grams, so a little bit over 3/16 of an ounce. So I'm gonna set my spool tension. And oh my God, turning this spool tension knob is so hard. I'm gonna try to minimize the side-to-side play if this thing will turn. Holy shit. All right, side-to-side play finally minimized, and I think I've rubbed my fingerprints off. This spool tension is so hard to turn. And we're gonna start off with maximum braking, which according to the side plate is here. All right, let's see what happens. All right, so I did just a little casual flick there. Casual flick, went out about a little bit over 10 yards. Might as well try to catch a fish while I'm at it. All right. All right, let's do a little bit more of a normal forceful cast. All right, that went out there about 40 feet, maybe a little bit more. All right, let's see if we can do overhead. Oh shit. Had a overrun there. And I think I got some line caught between the frame and the spool. Okay, I just picked it out, thank God. Okay, so I had an overrun. Now, I didn't even really cast that hard. All right, let's try it again. All right, This is with the brakes on maximum. And with a relatively heavy BFS lure, we are having blow-ups. Okay, so I finally picked that blow-up out. Now the reel itself is decently comfortable to palm, but I could definitely feel these protrusions of the brake dial. All right, let's try a sidearm cast with a little bit of effort. Oh shit, that was a bad blow-up. So, I mean, if it can't handle this heavier lure on maximum braking, I don't think it can handle a lighter lure. There's no way. Okay, so some line went through the gap where the frame and the spool is, and I'm gonna have to undo the side plate. Hopefully be able to pick that out, but while I'm at it, I'm gonna check the brakes here to see if I'm really, or if I really have the brakes on maximum. Okay, so let's turn this brake dial and see where these magnets go. Yep, they are on maximum. So it looks like we more than likely have another Hybo Steed on our hands here, which is disappointing, but then again, this is a $30 reel. So I'm not sure how disappointed we could actually be. Now these knobs, the EVA is very, very soft, but you can definitely feel the sharp edges. I'm sure they'll eventually wear down with use. All right, hopefully I didn't get snagged and lose another $15 lure. Nope, I'm good. Now I would tighten the spool tension, but it is so hard to turn this knob. Now I don't know if that's all the Mavllos Pioneers that are like that or if it's just mine. But one more cast with this 15 or this 5 gram jerkbait. Okay, so I had to thumb that during the whole cast. So you can get away with casting if you use thumb, but I prefer not to. All right, one more cast with the thumb, see how far I can get it. It's going out there a good, I don't know, 60, 70 feet. Should be going farther than that with a proper brake system. Okay, so the show must go on, and we are dropping the lure down to a little Rapala ultralight minnow number 4. With the snap swivel, it's probably right under 1/8 of an ounce or 3.5 grams. And let's see how this does. All right, that was better. I thumbed the spool a little bit. And there's actually some fish trapped in here. Probably bluegill. I don't know about bass. All right, so that was a good cast. Oh, so once I actually put some effort into the cast, this happens. So there is literally no way this reel will be able to handle anything lighter than this. Okay, one more cast. Yep, these brakes are a total failure, and I don't recommend this reel so far, but I've learned to prepare for such eventualities. And on the chance that these brakes might have been too weak, I've actually brought out that magnet kit. If I can find it. Here it is. It's that magnet kit that I used on the Hybo Steed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just stick this on top of the existing magnets and see if that will tame this spool and give us much better brakes. Okay, so I'm going to turn these brakes all the way down to recess those magnets, and I'm going to stick this magnet kit right on top. All right, so now I'm going to, so it looks like you can only adjust the brakes like 4 clicks before the spool hits the magnets, but hopefully that should be enough. Here we go. Oh shit. I can definitely hear those magnets rubbing up against the spool. Yep. All right, so this little experiment is a apparent failure. And I didn't bring any tools to undo the stock magnets. But I might try that in the future. But for now, this is a fail for the Mavllos Pioneer. Let's go back home and talk about it. Okay guys, so unfortunately, as you can see, the $30 Mavllos Pioneer turned out to be a BFS dud. All the potential of this really lightweight spool was just ruined by these super weak anemic brakes. That just shows you just how important strong brakes are for bait finesse. And in fact, this reminds me pretty much of the Hybo Steed without the aluminum frame. So the question is this Mavllos Pioneer worth trying to save? As you can see, I did bring out my little magnet kit, and I just basically placed these magnets on top of these stock magnets, and the magnets were still rubbing up against the spool because they were too close, even though I loosened the brakes up all the way. Now, would that have changed if I brought out a screwdriver and just replaced the stock magnets with these? And I don't know. I might try that out in the future, but if you take into the consideration this reel is around $30 and then these magnets are about $10, I personally would just save up, you know, another $10 or $15 and get a proven reel like the GH100, the PW100, or the Spirit Fox, and you won't have the issues of this reel right here with the thumb bar being really loose, spool tension being so hard to turn that it rubs your skin off, and then the drag system being a non-finesse drag system. I can barely turn this handle and the drag star is loosened all the way. So in my opinion, I personally wouldn't try to save this, but you know, it's up to you. And I will say this though, before I went home, I did throw on a little swim bait and I cast it around to see if I could get a bite. And that was doable, but if I thumbed the spool heavily all the way throughout the entire cast, so pretty much when I cast that lure, my thumb was on the spool, slowing it down. And that did work, but the cast distance was severely cut short, probably cut it in half in my opinion. And I still blew up the spool, you know, about a third of the time. And I hate fishing with my thumb all the way on the spool, having to worry about that. That's what brakes are for. Okay, so with this Mavllos Pioneer, I have tried out a total of 9 BFS reels from China. And let's go down the list of them real quick and I'll tell you whether they were good or bad. Now, the first one was the Surinoi XF50, and that was a good reel. And the second one was the Hybo Steed, which I wound up buying 2 times, and both times those were bad reels. Now, when I say bad, I mean the brakes being too weak. And then I tried out the C9 POTM, and that was also a bad reel, weak brakes. And then everything else after that was good. The GH100 obviously good. The Lurestar C9 Air was a good BFS reel. The Spirit Fox was a good BFS reel. The Fishband PW100, good BFS reel. And then the KR Phantom, which I have fished a little bit, that's a good BFS reel. Now, with this Mavllos Pioneer, out of all 9 reels, 3 of them were bad, 6 of them were good. So I'd say that's a pretty good average. Now, I do have yet another budget BFS reel that I'm going to be testing, and here's the box for it. So some of you guys have been emailing me about this reel, and now that I've finished testing the Pioneer, I'm going to get to this one. So be on the lookout for that. Alright guys, thanks a lot.